5th year in a row. We also received it for Lincoln for the first year. And I tell you, those awards don't come easily. It all boils down to taking care of the customers and having the vehicles you want in stock for you to buy.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello and welcome to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. 4 o'clock hour. If you're a 9 to 5 or 53 minutes and 41 seconds until we hit that 5 o'clock bell to end the day, and I appreciate so much you hanging with us here as we give attention to all things economic and financial here on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. You know, though, as a previous listener to this show, we're talking on any number of subjects. We're going to do that again here today. We're going to look at some companies in a positive light, maybe some companies in a not so positive light, but in doing so, we're not doing that in any way as a recommendation for your specific situation. Meaning that we strongly encourage you to reach out to your tax advisor, to your financial advisor, or if you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, love to hear from you. Love to chat about your particular financial situation, see if there are ways in which we might be able to be helpful to you. Online, you can find us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, Main like the street. Financial.com. NorthMainFinancial.com. We have a contact page on there. Leave us an email address or a phone number. Let us know the most preferred and desirable ways for us to contact you. Again, at NorthMainFinancial.com. You're also welcome to call us here in the studios. Can't promise you that I'm going to get to your particular subject matter. We got full deck. You know that. I mean, I pretty much just hit the hammer and keep it on the floor here the whole hour that we're talking. But if there's something that's come across your radar screen, certainly there are a number of I would say, time-relevant sort of things that have certainly been out there here over the last week. Happy to hear from you. 844-788-3464. That's 844-STUDIO-4 here in, I got to make sure you can still see I think you can still see the letter number relationships on your phone. I don't know if they even do that anymore. That's way, way back when we had, rotary dial phones and they stuck to walls and they were connected to wires and things. I know. You got to be somebody of my age to even know what I'm talking about right there. But 844-STUDIO-4 here in the studio. Again, if I can't get to it, leave a message, leave a thought about what you'd like to hear as far as the subject matter is concerned. Certainly, if I can't get it in on this show, I'm going to make sure we get it in on the next one. All right, let's run. Before I get into everything, though, and this I'll call it a point of personal privilege. It's been a week for us here in the Carolinas, in Georgia, and Tennessee, and Florida, as well as Hurricane Helene came on shore and really just did some catastrophic level damage. And I'm speaking especially in North Georgia and Western South Carolina, and then right here in North Carolina, specifically in Western North Carolina. Severe catastrophe, significant loss of life. Unfortunately, I just saw before coming online here, we crossed over 200 confirmed who have passed away due to the storm's impacts. And no, I'm not going to talk about the financial impacts on it. Perhaps we will at some point, but just a point to the listening audience. I know practically every show here on WSIC is doing it, so I want to make sure that I'm doing the same thing. Be mindful, be in prayer for our folks there who have suffered dramatically. Individuals, families, businesses, which have just been decimated. I mean, in some instances, villages just completely wiped out. I mean, literally. And so be mindful of that. If there are organizations with whom you are connected who are working up there, be generous and be helpful with your time, your effort, your resources, financial and otherwise, to be helpful to those folks. A big deal. And yeah, I'm taking a few minutes here to talk about that because I know for almost all of us in the listening audience, we know that, but just to be reminded of it and to be supportive of our first responders and all manner of folks. My gosh, to see the folks who have put together just groups of helicopters and fixed wing planes who are dropping stuff in there. I've even seen a farm that donated horses and mules, literally, to be able to get to folks who otherwise we haven't been able to get to them yet. So just amazing stuff. Be supportive of them. Definitely check in on the WSIC app or WSIC online to see different organizations with whom we're connected here, whether it's the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce and others. Definitely give time, effort, and resource on that end of things. Thanks for letting me do that. All right, let's keep going. What's hot in terms of the investment financial universe here is quite a bit that's out there. I gotta start with a big one. And I know they talked about it on Good Morning LKN a little bit, which, by the way, if you're not listening to Good Morning LKN, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., you can listen to it on 105.9 here around the lake and 100.7 as well. But you can always get the WSIC app. And even someone as technologically, let's say, limited as probably the nicest way to say about my technological skills, even I have the WSIC app. Go onto the Google Store, go onto the Apple App Store, download that app. What's so nice about it is you don't have to worry about the signal, the radio signal. As long as you got a cell phone signal, you can listen to them live. You can listen to old shows on there. Make sure you get on there. But they were talking about what I'm going to talk about next on Good Morning LKN here this morning, and it's a big one. And I mentioned it last week, and unfortunately, it did come to fruition here on October 1st, and that is the port strike. And when I say port strike, I'm talking about a strike of longshoremen, the Longshoremen Union, specifically the union which covers our East Coast and Gulf of Mexico ports. So not talking West Coast, different union out there, but East Coast ports here and the Gulf of Mexico. And they have gone on strike. We're in day 3 now. It started on the 1st. And it's a big deal. It really is. Now, as I'm saying that, because I'm starting to see these reports as well, and yes, I know this isn't particularly financial also. Folks, you don't need to hoard things because of this. You just don't. I mean, I'm starting to read reports about toilet paper and paper towels, and I mean, no, we make that stuff here in this country. Okay, it's not something necessarily that's going to be imported. Now, if you're talking about some toy that's manufactured overseas, it may not get here as fast. But a lot of manufacturers have already rerouted a lot of their deliveries to the West Coast, which is still open for business. So don't be hoarding, all right? Because of this, don't do it. But it is a big deal. It is a big deal in terms of the flow of goods. We don't really recognize sometimes. I don't always think about how much actually comes into our ports from overseas and how frequently it does. And it's really only during times like this, by the way, first time since 1977 that the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico ports have been on strike. And so it's not something that happens very regularly, but there's such a tremendous amount that comes through those ports. And, we're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars per day that's lost in terms of goods. If you have something that's obviously that is food related and it can't be refrigerated or it can't be moved to a space if it needs that of being able to be contained, it's going to be lost there on the docks there. So it's a big deal, and it doesn't look like at this point that there has been a whole lot of movement towards resolution, but it looks like. I'll call it what it is. There's a lot of saber rattling right now on all sides, and I get it. And this is not me taking sides of the union or taking sides of the ownership. There just is at this point a lot of saber rattling, not a lot of noise about what should be done. We're talking about some big raises. I don't think it's out of school to say that. I'm not saying they aren't deserved, but they're talking about some big raises, 50, 60, 70% over what's being paid right now. Kind of big. All right. Well, we're going to take a couple of seconds here, and we're going to talk about this more in the second segment as well. It's a big deal. We're going to talk about a little bit about what it may mean for the Christmas holiday season. We're going to talk a little bit about Christmas retail. I know we're not even Halloween yet. We're almost there. Hang with us here on Dollars and Cents. We hear from our sponsors on WSIC.
We'll have more of Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi following these brief messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
We're really locking into a nice stretch of weather, a dry stretch of weather at that, too. We'll see plenty of sunshine, up around 80 for the afternoon, falling back into the mid-60s. Tonight will stay a little warm, a little humid. Temperatures in the low 80s through the upcoming weekend, but then some drier, less humid air on the way early next week, and some cooler, more fall-like air on the way by the middle of next week to look forward to. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Listen, save, enjoy. The WSIC app, available now in your app store.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining, with Ben Gatlin taking the stage powered by Waves Entertainment at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Ben Gatlin kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. The popular Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors in downtown Statesville. This Friday, the Megan Doss concert will be held on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music from country singer Megan Doss at Friday After 5 in downtown Statesville. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday, October 12th. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 13th. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before racing's royalty duels for Roval supremacy. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
It's Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. Second quarter of today's show, Football Reference. It is that time of the year, folks. I mean, if we're not in football season, generally speaking, here on Dollars and Cents, we're counting down the days until we're in football season, but we're in it right now. And if you are a fan of our Carolina Panthers, came up short this past week, but put some points on the board. Good to see that. Had some big injuries though. That's especially on defense. I'm watching that this coming week. That's gonna be a big deal, and especially in the middle there with Thompson going down, linebacker. That. You got to listen to Joe Berg on the scoreboard. He's going to follow me here at the 5 o'clock hour and hear more of what he has to say on that. He is the guru of all things that have to do with the athletic fields, and I hope he's more optimistic than I am. But hope springs eternal, and we will continue to hold out for good possibilities for our local Panthers. All right, let's keep going. As we went to break there, we were talking about the port strike, and specifically the ports here on the East Coast and the Gulf of Mexico, governed by the same union, and the demands that have been made by the union, and the what has been offered now by the ownership group, and still pretty far apart. So day three comes to about $500 million a day. I mentioned that, I know, right before we went to break there, that it amounts to about $500 million, $500 million a day of negative financial impact. That's big. I don't care what kind of math you're putting together. That is a lot. Now, I've had a couple of questions. Folks say, well, how much actually comes through the East Coast and the Gulf as opposed to the West Coast? It's not perfectly this, but it's roughly 50%, maybe a little bit less than 50% of all imports that come on ship arrive through our eastern ports and Gulf of Mexico ports. So big deal. We're going to be watching it, and we're going to see where it's going to land. How long is it going to last? How much impact is it going to have? And I bring this up. I teased you right before we went to break there on the Christmas retail season. Now I said things like, well, I'm going to say it again. Don't hoard things. Don't be storming the grocery stores to be hoarding paper towels. We make them here in this country. Toilet paper, we make that here in this country as well. Don't do it. All right, don't do it. But there are things that are made overseas, specifically as we're coming into the Christmas retail season, that are going to be impacted. And so, if it's that certain toy or that certain item that may be a significant part of the most popular item for the Christmas retail season, may have some impact on that kind of thing. And so we're going to be watching that, because does that affect the consumer? Does the consumer spend less? Does the consumer spend differently, which often happens in those kinds of things, where if can't buy A, then we're looking at alternative B or alternative C. That may be what we end up seeing here. So we're going to be watching that. Hopefully that comes to some kind of resolution soon, as we're looking at what's happening in the ports. All right, let's go to some specific companies here. And this is a big one. This has been trying to happen for, gosh, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years maybe. I think 20 years ago is when this was first approached, and then it was not pursued because of antitrust reasons, and it has to do with two groups that probably are familiar to you if you like satellite television or mini dish television. It has to do with the group DirecTV looking to buy Dish, D-I-S-H. Now, Dish is owned by a group called EchoStar, and they're a publicly traded company. Ticker symbol is Sam Alpha Tom Sam Sats. Of course, satellites, right? And so, but they're looking just to buy the Dish assets from EchoStar. And if you've seen the story on this, you may have caught you off guard a little bit. And when I saw it, I had a kind of a chuckle. I kind of figured that this would be what it is. They're actually paying the gross sum of $1, or the offer is for $1, meaning DirecTV is going to be paying $1 for Dish. And you say, wow, well, why didn't somebody tell me about that? I could have been in the bidding for that kind of thing. Well, hold on, because you would have had to have also agreed to, which DirecTV is, of course, offering, to take on what amounts to several $1 billion worth of debt. And that's really the big deal. So that with a lot of these providers, they have a tremendous amount of bonds or debt outstanding. Dish was not on particularly good financial ground, and that was pretty well known. And DirecTV and Dish tried to get together a couple of times, but again didn't for antitrust reasons. By the way, DirecTV, excuse me, I kind of blushed over that very quickly. Mostly owned at this point by AT&T, ticker symbol TOM, one of those single letter ticker symbols. Not too many of them out there, but owned a majority by AT&T. But DirecTV would be doing this, and then assuming all of that debt, which is a very big deal in this process. There's also going to be a private equity group. TPG is going to be coming in and actually buying the what amounts to the 70% of DirecTV that AT&T owns. So a lot of moving parts here. What it could mean is that you're going to see maybe some programming crossover between the two. DirecTV, at least at this point, has said that they're not going to, if this deal goes through, they're not going to force Dish subscribers to switch over to DirecTV. So it looks like it's going to be kind of an entity working within an entity, if you will. So it's not, if you're a Dish subscriber, it doesn't look like that's going to change if this deal would happen to close in the ways that's anticipated here. So there's going to be some ownership and finally some consolidation on that. So a lot of moving parts, and it's a different world now in terms of how we consume our visual entertainment content. It really is. I mean, back 20 years ago, whenever DirecTV and Dish were getting together, one of the reasons why it was shot down by the Department of Justice for antitrust concerns is because there just weren't that many options out there. I mean, you had cable, and you had, of course, what you can get over the air kind of thing, and then you had the satellite providers, and that was really it. Now we have so many streaming online options, providers. I mean, there are a lot out there. And so the argument is, now in today's day and age, DirecTV and Dish can get together, and it's not going to be an antitrust concern because of how many other options are out there, and how much folks are consuming video and cable style content through so many different venues now, and that is very, very true. I mean, I'm thinking about it tonight. Today being Thursday Night Football. You know who carries Thursday Night Football? You got to have them. Amazon. Ticker symbol Alpha Mary Zulu Nancy. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold Amazon stock, which, by the way, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold EchoStar or AT&T. I didn't say that either. So when we're looking at the consumption of video content, we've got lots of options out there. And interesting, very interesting to me. And I know why they're doing it, but these larger entities that are forcing you to sign up for their subscription streaming service in order to be able to access certain content, and they're banking on, I mean, tonight's a great example with Thursday Night Football on Amazon. They're banking on, all right, if you don't have Prime, if you're one of the 7 people in this country that doesn't have Prime, I feel like there are more than 7 people, it feels like 7 people only in this country that don't have Prime, well, you're going to sign up for it. If you really want to watch Thursday Night Football. And there are other deals out there that are like that. If you want to watch this game, you want to watch this show, that you're going to need to sign up for the streaming service in order to get it. So kind of interesting. Lots of options that are out there right now. Tends to happen in these kinds of things, and we see this over time, that there are a whole lot of disparate options, and then over time, they begin to consolidate. It's going to be very interesting to see who the standing players are at the end, and whether we end up getting pretty much back to the way that it was previously with over the air, couple of cable providers, and then satellite dish. It'd be interesting to see if we get down to that small number again. But for right now, lots of options. So it'll be interesting to see. DirecTV buying again Dish for the grand sum of $1. I'd like to see the check. Meaning, are they actually going to cut a check for $1 and make it out to payable to Dish? That'd be kind of funny. Anyhow, only people like me who watch this stuff like a maniac are probably thinking that would be kind of interesting to see. But let's keep going here. Going down the list of what's hot, and again, looking company wise, got to bring in this one. Man, just challenging. And I don't want to be too negative on them, but really a very, very strong, ubiquitous name in the apparel, shoes, and I'm looking specifically at athletic shoes, kinds of things. Got to talk Nike. I mean, it just, if you're watching me on the socials right now and you can see my body language, I'm shaking my head. Pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable that you could take a name, a brand as strong as Nike and really not do well with it. But that's what's happened here recently. Ticker symbol Nancy Kelly Edward, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. Nike had a CEO change, and they brought this CEO in a couple of years ago. Great fanfare, paid him a lot of money, brand ambassador, brand genius kind of thing. No, it didn't work. And not only did it not work, but financially now, Nike is not in a great place. They withdrew their guidance, meaning they literally pulled it completely, didn't revise it, pulled it completely off the table, and they postponed their investment day. Now, you may be thinking, okay, what's investment day? It's a little bit of the dog and pony show. Yeah, it is. I mean, almost all publicly traded companies, certainly the big ones, the Fortune 500 do, where they have opportunity for analysts and for media to be able to ask them questions. And they make presentations about what's happening and where they see things as far as the past quarter, upcoming quarter, guidance, all that good kind of stuff. And so when the group or a company like Nike cancels investment day, not good. Not good. I mean, you pull the guidance, and now instead of being, let's say, more forthcoming about what's happening, now you're getting quieter. Market doesn't like that. Remember, the market doesn't like uncertainty. So it's going to be real interesting to see. Now, Nike's got more competition now. There's certainly from a brand standpoint, there are definitely more players in play that are out there that probably weren't as strong, or in some cases didn't even exist. But the whole athleisure, if I can use that term, I'm still not entirely sure what that is, but the whole athleisure apparel end of things, I mean, you got some big players out there. You got Under Armour, you got Lululemon, you got Adidas. I mean, you got some monstrous players out there that are taking market share. And Nike doesn't seem like they've been able to keep up, or now they're playing more catch up in terms of being a player. So what's going to happen? I think we're going to get some restructuring. I think the numbers are going to change a lot, and I think you're going to see Nike come out differently. Now, historically, they've been good at that. They've been very good about being a front runner, being out in the lead on that. It'd be interesting to see if they can restructure and make it happen again. Well, friends, I appreciate so much you hanging with us here on Dollars and Cents. We're going to take a few moments now to hear from our sponsors. Come back here on WSIC.
More of Dollars and Cents with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi is coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
You know, we're really locking into a nice stretch of weather, a dry stretch of weather at that, too. We'll see plenty of sunshine, up around 80 for the afternoon, falling back into the mid-60s. Tonight will stay a little warm, a little humid. Temperatures in the low 80s through the upcoming weekend, but then some drier, less humid air on the way early next week, and some cooler, more fall-like air on the way by the middle of next week to look forward to. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
On the lot at Black Automotive. Look at these Buick Envistas. The all-new Buick Envistas are leasing for as low as $299 a month. Check with them here at Black Automotive for all the details. Black Automotive Statesville.
Welcome home to the feeling of Horn Heating and Air Conditioning is family-owned and operated and understands the meaning of community. We treat you like family because you are family. Visit hornhvac.com.
Attention, fellow conservative investors. What does the name Reagan mean to you? It stands for being the ultimate conservative. It also stands for the Reagan Gold Group. Do you see storm clouds approaching? The stock market hates uncertainty, and there are plenty of reasons to be concerned. High inflation, unstable debt, and economic uncertainty are just a few. You have car insurance, homeowners insurance, and life insurance. But do you have insurance for your retirement savings and your 401k? We urge all fellow conservative investors to learn about the one asset that could help ensure your nest egg doesn't crack under economic pressure. G-O-L-D, gold. Call the one name any conservative investor needs to know about. Reagan Gold Group.
800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. That's 800-296.
Hi, this is Susan. I'm excited to let you know that Lake Mountain Coffee is now available for private events. Our beautiful historic building with its 360-degree mezzanine has hosted many private parties, catered diners, and even an actual wedding. Please contact Andy at 704-252-1886 for more information. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
DrumLandscapeSupply.com. DrumLandscapeSupply.com. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
Honey, what are you doing?
Oh, I figured if I rubbed my lawn and said DrumLandscapeSupply.com, I'd have the dream lawn I've always wanted.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just minutes ago, ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, and stocks are on track to end the day lower on worries about tomorrow's September jobs report after jobless claims were higher last week, and as Israel considers targeting Iran's oil industry, which sent the price of oil surging up 5% today, close to $74 a barrel. As for stocks, the Dow down about 0.5%, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 each down 1/3%. The big decliner shares of Hims and Hers Health down 11%. The FDA declared the U.S. shortage of Eli Lilly's weight loss drug Zepbound and Mounjaro is over. So Hims and Hers will have to stop sales of knockoff medications, which they can only do during a shortage. Shares of the jeans maker Levi Strauss down nearly 9% after weaker than forecast sales last quarter. And it said it's lowering its forecast for the year. And for the first time in 7 weeks, average long-term mortgage rates edged higher, now 6.12%, says Freddie Mac. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Call now to speak with certified financial planner Joshua Dobi at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Dollars and Cents on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. Second half of today's show. If you're a 9 to 5er, you got 25 minutes and 29 seconds until you hit the 5 o'clock bell, and I appreciate so much you hanging with us here as we're talking about all things economic and financial. We're talking about Nike. I mean, right before we went to break there, tough to get a brand name that's larger than Nike, at least here in the U.S. I was just chatting with producer Reese before while we were on break and before we came back on the air here, and talking about just how powerful that brand has been, how the Nike brand has been for decades. I mean, literally for decades. I mean, we're talking back in in the Michael Jordan years when he was playing basketball, and through the just do it phase of things, and the apparel and the sports stars who wore their stuff, and the sponsorship of teams. I mean, amazing stuff. And this is not me casting the death knell for Nike. I'm not saying that at all. They do need to do some reset, refresh. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do it because, just as producer Reese was saying as well, they got a lot more competition now, especially in the athleisure end of things, on the apparel side of things. What are they going to do? How are they going to make it happen? Or what are they going to do on the shoe line of things? Lots of competition with shoes as well. And golly, are they expensive. I don't know if you've bought a pair of tennis shoes here recently. Gosh. I mean, $100 I used to think $100 for a pair of tennis shoes was a sin. Now I guess you got to commit a sin every time you buy a pair of tennis shoes now, because it seems like all of them are over $100 for a pair. Unbelievable! It is a different world. I know I'm old and I probably sound cranky too. All right, let's keep going here. We're talking about what's going on. We like to talk about food here on here as well, and we do that to kind of keep things light. I got to keep you interested here a little bit and make sure you're not dozing off on me. But I came across this one, and I will admit that I wasn't enthusiastic when I saw this particular announcement combination. I mean, we've talked about some things here last several weeks, months, where I've been just flat out enthusiastic. I mean, whether you're talking about a specific style of fried chicken from Popeyes, or if you're talking about the $1 million new Burger King Whopper combination, which, by the way, that's closed. You can't apply for that anymore. But even if you have a great combination, maybe next year, maybe they'll do it again next year. But I was pretty enthusiastic about that sort of thing. This one I wasn't as enthusiastic, and it's not me. It's just my personal taste. But when I saw this, I thought, okay, got to talk about it, maybe, but not one. Maybe where I'm running all the way over to it. So Wendy's, quick serve restaurant, Wendy's, a publicly traded company, is one of those ones that is still standalone. Wendy's is not owned by a group. It is individual, publicly traded company. Ticker symbol WEN. Walter Edward Nancy is coming out. A couple of collaborations here. The Krabby Patty collab, right? So the Krabby Patty burger. I got to watch how I say that. We're going to get twisted up here. And then also the Pineapple Under the Sea Frosty. Now, I believe this is because of a collaboration with SpongeBob SquarePants, right? So now if you're one who likes cartoons and cartoon-related things, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm most concerned about the food here, of course, because that's what I like. So Wendy's version of the Krabby Patty is a quarter-pound burger topped with 2 slices of melted American cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, and a new proprietary Krabby collab sauce. Now, I probably could dig a little further and find out what's actually in that. I didn't dig further on that. I was, okay. I didn't see that as a good combination. Producer Reese is in there smiling. I think he probably is going to try one or two to see if it's up to his liking. Now, Pineapple Under the Sea Frosty is Wendy's vanilla frosty mixed in with pineapple mango flavored puree. I could do that. I mean, that kind of goes together for me. I definitely could do that. But the Krabby Patty burger, which really I initially thought, are we going to get crab meat on here? And maybe it is. Maybe it's in the sauce. I don't know. You probably 844 Studio 4. You could probably tell us what's in it, especially if you track those things pretty closely. But kind of interesting to see that. All right, let's keep going here. Another publicly traded company, another ubiquitous name, certainly when it comes to the apparel end of things. Wrapping this into also thoughts about what the Christmas retail season is going to look like. And this one caught my eye, and primarily because of their thoughts about what the Christmas retail season is going to look like for them. Levi Strauss company, apparel company, blue jeans, certainly how they've been known for decades. I know it's over a 100-year-old company. I'll have to take a look at exactly how old they are. Been around for a long time. Publicly traded company. Ticker symbol, as you can probably guess, Larry Edward Victor Indian. Levi is the ticker symbol. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. By the way, Wendy's or Levi Strauss. But very interesting in their quarterly report. They are not enthusiastic about the purchase of their apparel. So they're looking at it obviously directly from their standpoint. Not enthusiastic about their apparel going into the Christmas retail season, meaning that they really don't see a lot of growth possibility going into it. And that, it's one company. That doesn't mean that that the consumer necessarily is going to be backing off across the board. But insofar as Levi and their apparel is concerned, they are concerned about what the consumer is going to be doing. I found that to be interesting. And so there are a couple things in play there. Does that mean that just folks are buying fewer blue jeans? I don't know. Or do they have competition that is buying that is producing blue jeans instead of Levi Strauss, and so that's folks are buying somebody else's blue jeans? Could be that as well. So it's not necessarily an indication about what the consumer is doing, meaning that they're slowing down their spending. It just means they're not anticipating going to be buying as much in the Levi Strauss brand of things. Along that same line, they also announced that they're going to be marketing to sell their Dockers line of things, chinos, men's pants, and women's pants as well. The Dockers end of things. Dockers been around for a long time. Gosh, I remember wearing Dockers when I was in high school. So they've definitely been around. I don't want to hear any comments either about how long ago it was that I was in high school, coming from you guys. But they've been around for a long time, because I was wearing Dockers when I was in high school, and then they're now looking to sell that off as well. So it looks like some restructuring, looks like some concerns about sales, all of those kinds of things when it comes to Levi Strauss. So we're going to be watching them, see what that means. Does it bleed larger into what the consumer is thinking, or is the consumer just shifting their spending to somebody else, either as a competitor of Levi Strauss, or perhaps just looking, maybe we're not wearing as much in the blue jeans end of things or denim end of things. Maybe we're doing more like athleisure, like we were talking about, Lululemon, right? And the like. It's not just Lululemon anymore. Gosh, there's so many out there. It's amazing. All right, let's keep going here. Miami Dolphins. Very, very interesting. So about, I would say, 2-3 months ago, maybe not that long ago, actually, here on Dollars and Cents. We didn't break the news, of course. It was out there already. We just broke it again. That whatever we talked about, how the NFL, so the National Football League, announced that they would allow their franchisees or franchises, the individual teams, to sell up to 10% of their ownership, meaning the owners of these teams would allow them to sell up to 10% to different ownership/investment groups. Now, this is big. This was never allowed previously. You had to be part of the actual ownership group. In many cases, it's families or individuals who actually own the NFL franchises. So very tightly held, generally speaking, in terms of the owners. Yes, there are minority partners and owners in there, meaning smaller ones, but generally speaking, pretty small circle of folks who have an ownership interest. But then the NFL announced that, and then interestingly, then we just heard, or it just came through the news here this week, the Miami Dolphins look like they might be among the first to actually exercise that. So the announcement made, I shouldn't say that. This news was broken, probably leaked. And because I didn't hear a whole lot from the Dolphins or from these groups I'm going to mention next in terms of affirming that this is going to go forward. But some pretty specific details here. So there must be somebody who knows something about, or they're just spitballing in the dark, which is also possible as well. Miami Dolphins looking to sell 10% to a group called Ares, A-R-E-S, private equity group that's out there, big private equity group, and the gentleman who is one of the co-founders of Alibaba. Now, you may not know Alibaba. Alibaba, what's an easy way to describe them? Publicly traded company, by the way, here in the U.S. As well. Ticker symbol is BABA, so Bravo Alpha is the ticker symbol for Alibaba. Alibaba is like Amazon on steroids in China. That's probably the best way that I could say it. They are in all things retail when it comes to China, and so one of the co-founders, Joe Tsai, would also be part of this buy group for this 10% ownership. By the way, Joe Tsai also owns the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA, and I believe he has ownership of a WNBA franchise as well. As I'm saying that out loud, I believe that's the case. You can check me on that on the interwebs, looking for it. But it would value the franchise. This the part just takes your breath away. It would value the buy. This was leaked. Would value the franchise at $8 billion. $8 billion. Whew. So they're gonna put up $800 million to get 10%. Man alive! I mean, I can't argue. Can't argue. These Major League Sports franchises have been just unbelievable, especially the NFL, in terms of their accumulation of value. Unbelievable. It's amazing. Anyhow, all right, we're going to talk more about it. We're going to take a few seconds, hear from our sponsors as we get ready for the fourth quarter here on Dollars and Cents at WSIC.
Dollars and Cents with your host, certified financial planner Joshua Dobi, continues straight ahead on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
You know, we're really locking into a nice stretch of weather, a dry stretch of weather at that, too. We'll see plenty of sunshine, up around 80 for the afternoon, falling back into the mid-60s. Tonight will stay a little warm, a little humid. Temperatures in the low 80s through the upcoming weekend, but then some drier, less humid air on the way early next week, and some cooler, more fall-like air on the way by the middle of next week to look forward to. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining, with Ben Gatling taking the stage powered by Waves Entertainment at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Ben Gatling kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. The popular Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors in downtown Statesville. This Friday, the Megan Doss concert will be held on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music from country singer Megan Doss at Friday After 5 in downtown Statesville. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday, October 12th. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 13th. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before racing's royalty duels for Roval supremacy. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Dollars and Cents continues now. Here's your host, certified financial planner Joshua Dobi on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here into the fourth quarter Football Reference. You got 11 minutes and 57 seconds until we get to the 5 o'clock bell. I appreciate so much you hanging with us here as we're giving attention to things economic, financial, talking about going into, as we're going to break there. I mean, gosh, the NFL franchises. $8 billion on a valuation for the Miami Dolphins. And, you know, I actually did look at a list of these recently. I think it was Fortune magazine, Forbes magazine, that may have put out just their estimation. Obviously, not all teams are up for sale right now, but estimation on fair market value. They're not even the most valued one. I think it was the Dallas Cowboys, upwards of $11 billion. Man, I mean, you like him or hate him, Jerry Jones knew what he was doing making that investment. Wow, it's been 30 years, probably been 30 years, close to 30 years that he's owned that franchise. But the Miami Dolphins looking to take advantage. It appears this appears to have been leaked, so we're going to watch this. But looking to take advantage of a change in the rules about how NFL franchises can be owned, and specifically up to 10%, so a minority ownership, which can be sold outside of the ownership group that has been approved by the other owners. Meaning that in a quote normal scenario, when a team is sold, actually the other owners need to vote the way that the rules are. The other owners vote on whether they approve of that sale going through. So it's not a pure open market system. If I own the Carolina Panthers, for example, and maybe at this point you wish I did, but if I own the Carolina Panthers, for example, and I choose to sell it to producer Reese, the other NFL owners they actually got to approve him as an owner, which I'm sure they would, but they'd actually have to approve him. In this particular instance, it doesn't appear that there is ownership approval necessary to sell these minority stakes. So that's why I was mentioning it. Ares Capital, private equity firm, and then Joe Tsai, TSAI, one of the co-founders of Alibaba, is also mentioned as one of the owners who would be buying that 10% stake and doing so at an $8 billion valuation, which means they're putting up $800 million. Holy mackerel. It's pretty interesting. What a country. All right. We're going to go from football to Pizza Hut. You betcha. Pizza Hut owned by a group called Yum. This is one of the best ones out there, Yum Brands. I mean, of course you do. I mean, if you own Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut, you call your company Yum Brands. And yes, it is Yum. That is the publicly traded company with the ticker symbol, Yellow Umbrella Mary, Yum. I mean, it's one of the great ones out there. I love those kinds. Anyhow, Pizza Hut is offering up their program, which I'm fairly certain has been going on for at least 3 decades. And I don't see it advertised as much anymore, maybe because they don't want it advertised too much. But Pizza Hut, again, owned by the publicly traded company Yum Brands, offers during the month of October. So this is not all the way around, but during the month of October, which obviously we are right now as of the time of this live broadcast, they offer up a free personal pizza if you promise to read a book. I'm going to say that again. A free personal pizza if you promise to read a book. Obviously, it's encouraging literacy. It's encouraging the consumption of books and reading material and all that good kind of stuff, specifically for young persons. But now here it is, actually. Yeah, they've been doing it since 1984. Man, that's not that long ago for someone like me, but that is a long time to be offering that. And I saw such, almost in a footnote of it. I mean, they have given away several billion personal pizzas over the course of the last almost 40 years now. Actually, it is 40 years that this will be 40 years that they're doing it. Several billion pizzas. That is a lot of pizza and a lot of books. You better be reading it too. It's because all you have to do is promise that you're going to read a book. They actually don't need any documentation. So you better make sure that you're reading those books. But very interesting. Month of October, Pizza Hut giving away free personal pizzas, encouraging literacy there. All right, let's keep going here. Go to talk markets. Yep, we do that in the fourth quarter here. And I would be remiss if, as part of that conversation in talking about markets, to talk about, and I'm going to call it war between Israel and Hezbollah, which Hezbollah a proxy in many ways for the country of Iran. And I'm not looking at it from the political, the geopolitical aspect of things, but looking at it from the economic aspect of things, as that has escalated and there is the possibility for more infantry style war that appears to be out there as a very, very likely possibility in greater ways. We've seen some things economically shift. We saw some pullback overall in the equity markets as that has been made known and as the U.S. has been a part of those talks and negotiations about what comes next. And I'm looking at it just from the financial standpoint for means of this discussion in markets. Equity markets pulled back, but price of oil spiked. And the assumption being, and you can say that this is just reactionary, that it's not, in this day and age, that it is not as much of a factor, meaning that having armed conflict in the Middle East, active armed conflict in the Middle East, does not affect the supply of oil in the ways that it did. I would have to agree with you. That's just math. When you look at the gross number of barrels produced in the world right now, and the percentage that comes out of the Middle East, it is a smaller percentage than it has been for, I got to say, at least 60 years. Really, it's really the set 1970s when Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East really came to the forefront in terms of oil production, and so we saw a spike in the price of oils, 3% as things really escalated. It's spiked up another 5%. Still relatively low in terms of WTI and Brent crude, the two primary markers of oil prices around the world. And so we're still relatively low. We're still in the mid to high 70s as far as the prices are concerned per barrel that are out there being traded right now. But definitely has spiked those prices. So what does that mean in terms of the markets? We don't know yet. Definitely can't. It would be presumptuous to know what that's going to mean for the energy markets, what that's going to mean for equity markets overall. Significant function of it, a little bit like we were talking about with the port strike earlier in today's show, is going to be the duration. How long does it last? Is it going to be something that has a prolonged impact on markets overall? And again, I'm not speaking to the personal or the geopolitical aspect of things. There are just huge, especially in terms of the civilian impact, just horrible things on all sides that have been happening. I'm not ignoring those. Obviously, we're talking finances and economics here, so I'm focusing on that. But there's a lot more to it than what I'm talking about here. But if we're talking about in terms of market impacts, again, still relatively early to know, but there's going to be some. And I would expect, even if it's a temporary slowdown of production of oil out of the Middle East, even though on a percentage basis they're producing less of the world's supply than they have over the last several decades, it's still going to have an impact. And it's going to probably result in an increase in the price of a barrel of oil. Now, that's going to have several effects. If you happen to own oil company stock, probably going to be a positive thing, at least in the short run. However, remember that the base oil is one of the primary components of refined gasoline. Refined gasoline, I don't think I need to tell you, is the stuff that we get out of the pumps at the gas station and put it in our cars. So if there's an increase in the price there, especially a notable increase in the price there, barrel of oil to refined gasoline to what we experience at the pumps, what is that going to mean in terms of budgets? What's that going to mean for the consumer? So you see why I'm bringing this up here. Yes, that is a little bit of a long tail in terms of understanding, but there's also a pretty direct impact between those things. Price of a barrel of oil affecting refined gasoline, what we put in our internal combustion vehicles. So we're going to be watching that for the obvious reasons, what the impact will be at the gas pumps. What will that mean in terms of long-haul trucking? I mean, absolutely. I remember this was maybe more, 25 years ago. No, 25 years ago? No, not quite that long. 20 years ago. When we started seeing escalation in the price of a barrel of oil and subsequently in price of a gallon of gasoline. And then about 15 years ago, I want to say, actually it was before the economic crisis, let's say 04, 05, 06-ish, when I started to see for the first time entries on things like FedEx invoices. Ticker symbol, by the way, is FDX, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the stock. And UPS invoices, ticker symbol is, wait for it, UPS. But I started to see an entry for a fuel surcharge and started to see that on invoices because the price of gasoline had spiked so much because the price of oil had jumped. And interesting and I'm not saying this in a bad or negative way, it just happened to be true. That surcharge went on there and in many instances never came off. Very interesting because the price of oil and gasoline fluctuating all over the place. Very interesting when you're looking at it. But I'm saying all of that to say that it absolutely does have a direct impact. I mean, FedEx, UPS, other freight providers, long-haul truckers, they need to be able to pass through that expense in order to be able to keep margins. And so, again, pinching the consumer in terms of budget and in terms of discretionary spend. So definitely something that's on our radar screen. Definitely as we're coming into the Christmas retail season and looking at where the consumer is, and as we're beginning to look at what happens in 2025. Golly, we're less than one quarter away from 2025. Ready or not? I mean, we were talking the other day. Just kind of interesting sidebar, real quick. When we flipped over the calendar from 1999 to 2000. Talking with a computer programmer person about that experience and about how crazy that was. Hard to believe. A quarter century ago? It is. I mean, ready or not, it actually happened that way. That it is a quarter century ago. Amazing stuff. All right, real quick here. Another announcement, Pepsi, ticker symbol Paul Edward Paul. Very interesting as well, buying a group called Siete Foods, primarily focused on tortilla chips. And the reason why they're, by the way, $1 billion deal, that's why I mentioned it. They focus on tortilla chips, but done so with dietary considerations. So for folks who are sensitive in one way or another, kind of interesting. Thought it'd be good to mention that as well. So definitely be watching that. Definitely some consolidation in the snack business. We've seen that recently as well. All right, well, we're rapidly approaching the end of our time together here on Dollars and Cents. Going to do a lightning fast recap. Port strike, how long is it going to continue? How much impact is that going to have in terms of the disruption of goods that are bought here in the U.S.? Does that bleed over into the Christmas retail season? Does it slow down the consumer? Definitely something that's going to be on our radar screen. And then watching what's happening in the Middle East as well. Oil prices, gasoline prices, big as well. Friends, thank you so much for being with us here on Dollars and Cents on WSIC.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W264CU Statesville.